All told, we have put in about $250K of our own money throughout the process over 8 years. And like we said, our portfolio is now at about 864, which if you do the math works out to a ridiculous 17% annually, which is just a number that I have trouble wrapping my mind around.
My backstory is that my dad still owns the home that I grew up in, but he purchased another home when I was in high school, and we moved, and he couldn't sell our original house, so he just kept it and has been renting it forever. I was in a homeschool community with a woman who was working with you guys, and she just kind of gave me a pamphlet and gave me some information and got me thinking about it again for the first time in my adult life. And I pitched it softball style to my husband.
Hard pass.
Literally, hard pass. No. And I pushed a little bit. Why? Why are you so anti this idea? And the bottom line was, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to have to manage a property and go fix a sink in the middle of the night. And I said,
especially when we're across an ocean from that sink. Yeah. That would be bad.
And so that's when I got on to your website and just started poking around about some of the educational videos that you had at the time. I was like, would you at least just watch this video with me?
And I was like, okay, well, it seems like there is a way through property management and aligning all the things so that I'm not going to get the call at 2 o'clock in the morning from a property across an ocean saying, come fix my toilet. So I was like, okay, let's actually talk to somebody. So we called and we had a conversation and we talked through some of the reality of all of our savings that we would need to use as a seed to get into this process. Before we had kids, we were both working and we had put away a lot of that money initially. And so that was what we were going to have to do, is take that out. And so that was going to incur penalties. And that was another, is this something we're going to do? It'd be a short-term hit for a long-term gain. I started to catch the vision for what active management and income replacement meant, right? And to see the difference between compounding interest or stock market volatility and the value of real property securing the investment that's behind what you're in. Totally emptied my Roth IRA and we took most of hers. So that amounted to about $180K. And we put that into our first initial 3 properties the first year. And then I got a bonus at work the next year, and we were able, with what was left over and the bonus, to get our 4th property. So basically, within 12 months, by the end of 2016, we had 4 properties, and we got those all down in the Florida market, and closed on those. Have a great property management relationship with the team that's down there. That's Citravest that we've been working with since 2015, and really happy with all the care that we have had, even though we've had hurricanes, and we could talk about that. So we're at 8 now. All told, we have put in about $250K of our own money throughout the process over 8 years. And like we said, our portfolio is now at about 864, which if you do the math works out to a ridiculous 17% annually, which is just a number that I have trouble wrapping my mind around.
So I think we're in a building season. We need to let our, capital gain a little bit so that we've got money for the next house. I think we do plan to increase the portfolio by, 3 to 5 more homes over the next 10 years.
Up to this point, we have been totally focused on growing the portfolio, right? Increasing the number of houses, to multiply the equity growth and enable the portfolio to continue, ideally to double about every 5 to 6 years is kind of what we were shooting for. What we're looking at now is that we are looking at in my profession, our base salary may decrease, but what we're trying to do is have the portfolio be in a place to augment and replace that 40% that we're going to be losing, so that we can do things with our time when that transition happens, so that we're able to pursue those passions and family goals that we're working towards. So the short answer to your question is we are looking to enable our passions. We're big board gamers. It's right here on the t-shirt, right? We're as deep into that pool as you can be. We design games. We publish games. We make no money, but it is a lot of fun. We meet incredible people in that world. We are very active in our faith and supporting various Christian causes and engagement, and we love doing that. And we don't want to lose the ability to do those things when my professional earning capability changes. And so the plan has always been, since we started this, to enable that transition to happen gracefully. I will be honest, though, that target has moved a little. Like, what is the acceptable quality of life? As our kids have gotten older, as the economy has gone through inflation, and we've looked at like what is going on in college education and preparing our kids for the future, like the requirement side of the equation has grown significantly. And so that causes us, looking at this inflection point that's coming up, to say, what are we going to do with our portfolio? Are we willing to continue the profile of equity growth so that we can get to a point where the portfolio will support us at a much higher level later on, but continue to work in the workplace more aggressively for longer in order to support that? Or are we willing to shift our model in a way that maybe we sell a property to reduce the leverage to increase the cash flow so that we can accept a smaller standard of living sooner, right? And these are the questions that we're working through, and we don't have an answer yet. But the great thing is that we have you guys to talk to, and one of the reasons I did this whole number crunching thing 2 weeks ago is we had a conversation with Mike Chamberlain, and he offered to sit down and do some long-term financial planning with us. And so that's something we wanted to pull together so that we can consider at a broad brushstroke, what are the options that we have? Because no matter what, for the next year, we're waiting. So if we're going to wait anyway, let's use the waiting time to plan so that our next moves are happening, from a place of wisdom. There are moments in the real estate process where you have the chance to get perspective on the future that you wouldn't otherwise get. Like the last couple of weeks, we just closed the property. We know we're not going to do anything for a while. Okay, take a deep breath, come out of the process. Where are we? What are the choices, right? And that deep breath where the process is working because you're seeing it work, but at the same time, you get to peel some of those layers back and look at the future in a way that doesn't induce stress, but induces joy. And we get to see the possibilities open up for how do we want to shape the future of our family. And for us, really, there's going to be a lot of shaping the future of our extended family. Because we have moved around so much that when we make the transition and we pick a place to go, it's probably going to pull a lot of the family together into that place. And so there's a lot of responsibility in that, but there's also a tremendous amount of opportunity in that to enjoy some of the things that we haven't had a chance to enjoy over the last 20 years. And so that, I think, is what is so exciting.
I think another thing that's exciting for me is sharing the journey with our kids. Our oldest is 16, and our second is 14, and our third is 12. So they're all old enough to peek at some of the numbers. So when we did our refinances 2 years ago, I invited the kids into that conversation and talked about why we were refinancing and what that was going to cost us in the short term, but what it was going to do for us as we pulled out this pretty huge chunk of money, and their eyes getting, as round as saucers. You have how much money in the bank? And then you explaining to them that, this enables us to buy the next investment property. And what does this investment property mean for your future? As, part of what we're going to have to do in the next decade is help our kids through college. So that has been really exciting too, just to give them the opportunity to vicariously learn through us what investing in your future looks like. There's been some eye-opening moments. It's been a lot of fun to journey with them.
And to teach a little bit about that discipline that you talked about. Our portfolio has grown the way it has grown because we have left it totally alone, right? Like, we've put the money in at the key points of time, and it's gone, things have gone up and down momentarily, but we have, like, all of the income that has ever come in, we have not taken a single penny out of the money that has gone into that, right? And so it's just compounding and growing, and that way it's there so that when the hurricane knocks out a fence and takes out a roof and damages the inside of a house, we have the buffer there that's necessary to repair and replace it without having to stress about it, right? It's there, it's available, it's built into the plan, right? Nobody wants to deal with it, but it's not gonna derail the plan to take care of it. And so we've had great people to work with, and we have left it alone. Just leave it alone.
For me, it's two things. One is the unexpected call. The fridge went out. Do we have permission to go buy a new fridge? When it's the third fridge in a year, you're like, ugh, this hurts, right? But as Patrick said, we have left a slush fund available for repairs. So we have never been caught off guard by the hurricane, the air conditioner, the refrigerator. With 8 homes, those things are going to happen. That's hard, but if you have a stockpile sitting aside for those things, it's not going to hurt your pocket. And so that's been okay. The other piece for me is the stress of making the decision to do the next one. And then all of the paperwork, like having to, all of the, interacting with the lender and having to give another bank statement and another thing.
That's so fun.
But
best part. Yeah. It's great. Love it.
But, it's a small wall to jump over to get into the next house. And so, yes, it's a pain, but you do it. Anecdote, my brother had a pot of money that he wanted to jump in and go do real estate, but he wanted to do it on his own. He didn't want to pay the team's fee to DFY. He chased for a year and was not able to close a deal for a year. And He ended up going and blowing that money somewhere else and still is not in real estate.
Look at that.
So I would say stop nibbling around the edges. If you've got the down payment, jump in with both feet. You're not going to regret it.
Yeah, I was the hard stop. I want no part of real estate. And I need to say, if you're like I was, don't worry. DFY has got your back. They're gonna connect you with good people, and they're gonna take care of you as you go through the process, start to finish. So don't stress about that. And I would say that it is only getting harder. And so if you wait, you are likely to not be able to get into the market at all. So if you are close, stretch now to benefit later.